Hello, everyone. It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love showing art from my heart and helping you create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Welcome to a Common Canvas YouTube collab. So today we are using a very limited palette, and I'm even using a more limited palette than that. So part of this YouTube collab, we are using only the primes, red, blue, and yellow, and black and white. And I'm even eliminating yellow. So let me turn you guys around and we will get started. So I have out here my pre-traced Valentine gnome. You can grab the tracer for this in the description if you like. And I'm just going to start painting around the entire background with black. Now, if you didn't want to paint your background black, you can paint it any color you like. I like to use my brush up on the chisel edge to get close to the design, and then on the flat to cover more surface when I'm painting flat and I need to cover a larger area. A lot of times I will make a really cool dimensional background. We're going to add to this background, of course. But I like my backgrounds to be a little interesting. This one is totally black, but we're going to add some hearts and some other designs to it. And so that will make it interesting in and of itself. In the description, you will find the tracer for this. And I guess the supplies are really all you need is a large flat brush, a surface of your choice. And then, like I said, I'm only using 3 colors for this. And some people will say that black and white aren't even colors. So basically, I'm using 2 colors because I'm just going to use red, a tiny bit of red, and some blue. So there we go. I painted my entire background black. All right, and I'm just going to put this brush aside for now. I'm going to use my smaller brush. I'm going to get out some white. And a tiny bit of red to start. Okay, I'm going to pull out some of my white over here. Just taking my brush, separating it, and pull out a little bit of white here. And then I'm just going to pick up the very corner and mix it in to my white. I want a really, really pale pink. You can hardly even tell it's pink until I come up here and start painting in my hat. And then you'll see that it's pink. And only because the contrast against the white canvas. I have my design on my hat already, but because this pink is so pale, I will be able to see through it. But honestly, even if I couldn't see through it, it's a simple pattern. You can make it whatever pattern you want. And so it doesn't really matter if I can see it or not see it. And I'm just coming in here and I'm base coating my entire hat to start with in this very pale pink. You want your black to be dry, so you don't drag too much black or any black into your design. But if you do, it's kind of okay because we're going to add some shading anyway. I'm probably going to have to mix up a little bit more pink. It's okay if it's not exact. It can be a shade or 2 off. I try not to get hung up on colors, especially when I'm base coating. We have a ton of elements and details to add to this painting. So if my mix is a shade or 2 off, as I continue to mix my pink paint, it is totally okay. And it is the tiniest bit of red paint that I'm using to make this really pale pink here. Okay, and we've got our entire hat up there base coated. I'm just going back and I'm smoothing out my, see, I picked up a little bit of black there. I'm smoothing out my brush strokes so they're following the curve of the hat. Now I'm going to then take my white over here. I'm going to pull out a bunch of white on this side and a tiny, tiny bit of black. And I'm going to make some gray. I want my gnome's beard to be gray. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paint in the beard. A lot of times when I'm mixing colors, especially like this for the beard, I'm not going to overblend my paint. I don't know if you can tell, but I have various shades of black and white and gray in here. I didn't just make one solid new gray. You may not be able to tell from the lighting, but I have a lot of variation going on in there. And I think I'm even going to paint the shoes gray. So while I have the gray on my brush, I'm just going to come in here and fill in these little shoes. Our paintings go through stages. So you will notice that sometimes our painting, we have to just accept it for what it is and move on because our painting does not really come together until the end. We don't judge until the end, okay? And then we really shouldn't even judge then either. But our painting goes in stages. It goes in layers. We paint from the bottom layer up. And as we paint our layers up to the top where we add all the details and the shading and the highlighting, that's when your design really comes to life. Okay, I'm going to put out now a little bit of this blue. I'm going to put out a little bit more white over here and over here for mixing. And I want to make a color for my nose and my hands. So I have my pink here. I added a little bit more red to it. I added a little bit of blue to it. And now I'm going to add a tiny bit of black to it. Yellow would work, but I said I was going to use yellow. And I'm going to stick to that. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to give our gnome his nose and his hands. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of red over here and a little bit of blue over here. And I want to make a really deep purple. A little red. It's probably like 50-50 with my red and blue. And I'm going to make a really, really dark purple over here. I like that. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paint in the outfit. His robe, his pants, whatever our gnome is wearing. And this is the time, if my black outline wasn't perfect, as I build up my painting, I can come in here and I can fix these lines. When we add some shading and highlighting to the shoes, we can fix that as well. A little piece in here. And that is that. Okay. Up here, you can see a little bit out of the line. I don't worry about that until the end because as our painting progresses and as we add to our painting, we fix those things. So while I have my purple on my brush, I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the bottom of his hands and a little bit to the bottom of the nose. Now I'm just going to build on my hat. I'm going to move out my white, pick up a little bit of red, and mix it in. Now I have a darker pink. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to fill in the first stripe of pink. going to pick up a little bit more red. I'm going to add it to my mixture. And I'm going to fill in the next stripe. Pick up a little bit more red. Add it in. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do this next stripe. I'm doing every other. So I'm keeping the one stripe from the background, the light stripe that we did. I'm keeping that light, and I'm gradually getting darker and darker as I work my way up, and I'm just adding a little bit more red every time I go back to my mix. Oh, again, there I got some black. We're not going to worry about that. Easy peasy to fix. Wipe off my brush. Okay, pick up a little bit more red. Go back to my mix. And come in here. Pick up a little bit more red. And come back. Pick up a tiny bit more red. And then I just added red to my brush. My brush was dirty. I just picked up red and added that to my brush for the last stripe. Now my dirty brush, I'm just going to come back in here. I'm going to put a little bit of shading to the bottom and each side of these stripes. I want to blend this one in a little bit more. And because this got a little bit of the black in here, I'm going to pull it across as well for a little bit of shading on that side. I'm going to come back in here with my pink though and fix that. Now I'm going to go back to my original pink. So I'm going to move out some of my white here into a tiny bit of pink, tiny bit of red, and make my light pink again. Okay. This way I can come in here and I can fix this black. And then I'm going to go back to my red mixture and fix that again. Everything is base coated. This is where the fun starts. And you can do stripes, you can do dots, you can do hearts, you can do whatever you want on your Valentine gnome, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, back to my medium brush, I'm going to mix a little bit more gray over here. And I'm going to wipe my brush off. Because now I want to kind of dry brush in the beard. So sometimes I'm going to use my brush on the flat, and then sometimes I'm going to use it up on the chisel. See that? So I'm pulling in the whiskers. I'm coming up here next to the nose. The chisel edge is this part of the brush, the top part. So I have my black here and my white and my gray. I'm not over mixing, and I'm pulling in these little strokes over our base coat of gray and making his beard look whiskery? Whiskers? Have whiskers? If you want, you could be a little bit more patient than me and dry your art in between stages. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I am all about the process and not necessarily having perfect art. I think sometimes, well, all the time, perfection is overrated, but it's the process and the feelings we get as we create. So you know what? If I just want to paint and not grab my dryer, it's okay. You want to grab your dryer, you can. Okay, see on the bottom, I'm pulling out these little whiskers. He's a gnome. His beard is not trimmed. His beard is not all neat and groomed. No, he's got some coming out, some going down. They hang over. And there we go. So we have our gnome's very messy beard. Let me come up here. I'm going to fix this part. I have my little bit of red here, but I had more white in it this time. So now I'm going to come in here. A little bit more red, I think. This is acrylic paint. You can fix anything. Okay. This is acrylic paint. If you want to blend, you need everything wet. Your palette, your brush, your surface all needs to be wet. If you want to fix something, you need to wait for your paint to dry, and then you basically can fix anything. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm using just the red, and I'm going to add in some hearts. Now you can brush these in, you can trace these in, you can use a stencil. It's totally up to you. I'm doing this little simple heart here where I just take my brush, it's a flat brush, and I squish it down and I squish it down, and the two come together to make a heart. Or you can paint in a heart with your brush, or you can draw in a heart with chalk or a pencil and then paint it in. Whatever you want, whatever makes your life easier. It is not cheating to use a stencil or a tracer. Now I am going to go to my liner. I'm going to roll my liner. When I use my liner, when you use your liner brush, you want to roll it between your thumb and your forefinger. You want your liner to have a nice point on it. Okay. And now I'm going to just add in some stripes. And again, this is your art. This is your painting. You can do it however you want. You can do whatever designs you want. Sometimes it's hard to be random. Just doing little shapes here. Almost like an animal print. I'm just going to pick up some white. Okay. And as you see, as we start to add these details, our painting starts to come together. I'm going to get out my medium brush again, and I'm going to mix in some purple again. So I'm going to get a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. I'm going to go back over here to my purple. So we got some blue, got some red, and I'm going to mix it in. Some blue, some red. Now I have this really nice purple here. It's very, very dark. If I wanted to make my purple lighter, scoop up some white and bring it out here. Now I have this pretty light purple. Same purple, much lighter. And I'm going to start bringing in the purple down from his outfit above. And the first thing I'm going to do is put in a heart up there. Then I want to use the back of my brush and my purple, and I'm going to add in some dots. I like to use the back of my brush, pick up the paint, and just come in here with little polka dots. Okay. I'm going to go into the darker purple up here, and I'm going to do the same thing in this row. When you use the back of the brush to make these dots, your dots automatically get smaller as you run out of paint. I'm keeping up with my purple and blue here, or my red and blue here to make my purple. And get my liner brush, twisting it between my thumb and forefinger. And I'm going to continue our design on this fun hat. But now I'm bringing in the purple. I need some white. And I'm going to come in here, I'm going to put a banner across his hands. Okay? And I'm going to use my medium brush. And again, if you need to use a stencil, a tracer, a ruler, I never use a ruler, you guys, but it's totally up to you. I'm going to get my white, and this might need 2 coats. Putting in a little bit of a banner here. And I might need 2 coats of white. So I'm putting in my 4 triangles, and you can leave this part off. You can put this part in. You can put whatever word you want on here. You can put X's and O's, whatever you want. So I'm going to leave like that for now. And I'm going to go back to my red. I'm not even going to clean my brush. And I'm just going to start putting in some simple hearts around the outside of my art. My brush is dirty. It has white in it. It has some red in it. It's making different variations of pink. I'm okay with that. And I'm just doing 2 strokes. They combine. They make like a letter V. But they're a heart. I'm making them on different angles. And you can do as many or as few as you want. I'm only picking up the red paint when I go back. And I'm just filling in my background with these different size hearts with my dirty brush. It's got red, it's got blue, it's got white, and different shades, different sizes of my hearts. I'm going to go back to my liner brush. I'm going to do the same thing with my liner brush on my purple. And then these are going to be little tiny filler hearts, almost like little stars. And again, I'm doing the same thing. 2 little strokes, fatter on the bottom, coming together and making a little V. If you have a stencil and you want to move your stencil all around and stencil in some hearts, you can. If you want to cut out a heart out of like some cardboard or cardstock and trace them on here. If you want to draw them in first with pencil, totally up to you. And again, you can do as many or as few of these as you want. There's no art police. Okay? I'm going to wash my brush. And then I'm going to go into my white. And I'm just going to add some dip dots with the back of my brush, like we did in the hat. And I'm just sprucing it up in the background here with some of these little dots. And look how our painting just totally starts to come to life. And we didn't even get to the shading and the highlighting yet. I'm going to come up here with a little bit of black and fix that. I waited for it to dry. Now I'm coming back in with my black brush and cleaning up some of these edges where when I painted in my design, it went over a little bit. That's what I mean. If you're patient, you wait for it to dry, you can fix anything. Back to my liner brush. So, a little bit of white. I'm going to put a little bit of highlight on each of his hands. Going to put a highlight on each of the shoes. Going to put a highlight on the nose. Little highlight on the outfit. Okay. Then I'm going to add a little white highlight down the side of the hat. It's not perfect. It's just following the shape of the hat and coming down. Do the same thing on this side. In the light sections, you won't see it as much, but that's okay. I'm just following the shape of the hat and across the nose. Now I want to put a little bit of white highlight, light touch, and I'm just gently pulling in some white hairs into the beard. Some of them are going to go out, some of them are going to go down, some down here. I'm going to wash my brush. Then I'm going to do the same thing with some black, just not as much. So I'm going to get my black over here and just a little bit. See, I'm skipping almost most spots, but I'm just coming in here, picking up a little bit of the black, light touch. You can wait for your painting to dry and do this with a Posca pen, white and black. You can wait for your painting to dry and do it with a Sharpie. You can skip this part if you want, if you don't trust yourself and you like your painting just the way it is. Totally up to you. A little bit on the shoes, a little bit on the outfit, a little bit on the bottom of the hands, a little bit in the beard. Okay. And then last but not least, I think I'm going to use my red. I'm going to use my liner brush. I'm going to pick up my red and L O V E. I'm going to put a little red on my banner. And there we go. Let me turn you guys around. With just a few colors, we painted up this really cool Valentine's gnome. Blue, red, black and white, made some pink, made some purples, and there we have it. Thanks for watching, and thanks for watching the Common Canvas Palette YouTube tutorial. The playlist is in the description. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please do, as well as check out the playlist and subscribe to everybody else's channel too. Have a great day, everyone.